Have you ever felt like the world is too cruel? Like words can wound you, losses can break you, but what if I told you, no one can truly hurt you unless you allow it? Imagine waking up one day to find that everything you had was gone. No family to turn to, no wealth to rely on, and no freedom to call your own. What would you do? Collapse under the weight of despair, or rise above it? This is the story of Epictetus, a man who lost everything but never broke. In the heart of ancient Greece, a young boy was born into a world that had already decided his fate. Unlike the privileged children of Athens who studied philosophy in marble halls, Epictetus was destined for chains. From the moment he took his first breath, he was not seen as a person, but as property. At a young age, he was sold into slavery and taken to Rome, where his life was dictated by the whims of his master, a powerful and merciless Roman noble. Shackled and powerless, his days were filled with servitude, his nights with exhaustion. One could see the weight of his suffering in his hollowed cheeks, in the way his frail body carried itself through the cold marble corridors of his master's grand estate. Yet, what was most striking was his gaze. Eyes that did not betray fear, only a quiet resilience. One day, the nobleman, amused by his own cruelty, decided to test the limits of his slave's endurance. Without warning, he took Epictetus by the leg and twisted it with brutal force. The pain was unimaginable, yet Epictetus did not scream. He simply looked at his master and said, in a calm voice, "You see, now it is broken." In that moment, he had already freed himself, not from his chains, but from the power his master thought he held over him. Even as a slave, Epictetus understood something that most free men never did. True freedom does not lie in one's circumstances, but in one's mind. He knew that while his body belonged to another, his thoughts, his reactions, and his spirit were entirely his own. And so, day after day, he endured. When he was finally granted his freedom years later, he did not seek revenge against those who had wronged him. He did not chase wealth or power, nor did he live in resentment of the life he had been forced to endure. Instead, he chose to teach, to share with the world the wisdom he had gained so that others, too, might break the invisible chains that bound them. Epictetus became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers in history, his words echoing through the centuries. No man is free who is not master of himself. So, the next time life takes something from you, remember Epictetus. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. And in that choice lies your true freedom. Epictetus was born a slave. From the moment he could walk, his life was not his own. His master, a high-ranking Roman official, was known for his ruthlessness, cold, calculating, and utterly devoid of mercy. To him, Epictetus was not a person but property, something to be used, disciplined, and discarded at will. But what he did not know was that this slave would one day become one of the greatest philosophers in history. One fateful day, in a cruel display of power, the Roman official decided to test the limits of Epictetus' endurance. He forced him to the ground, placing his boot on Epictetus' leg, pressing down, slowly increasing the pressure. The bones strained under the weight. The pain shot through his body like fire. But Epictetus did not scream. He did not beg for mercy. His face tensed, but his eyes remained steady, unwavering, almost detached, as if observing the pain rather than being consumed by it. Then, with a sickening snap, the bone shattered. Silence. And then, in a calm and measured voice, Epictetus simply said, "See, now it is broken." To the Roman master, this was an act of complete defiance. Not of words, not of rebellion, but of something even greater, a refusal to let pain control the soul. But the true lesson was not in the suffering. It was in the way Epictetus faced it. He did not curse his master. He did not plot revenge. He did not let hatred fester in his heart. Because Epictetus understood something that few ever do. Small blue diamond, there are things in life we cannot control. But we can always control how we respond to them. And that is where true freedom begins. His body was in chains, but his mind was untouchable. Years later, when he was finally freed, he did not seek vengeance. Instead, he dedicated his life to teaching. He taught that suffering is inevitable, but our reaction to it is a choice. That external events do not define us, our perception of them does. He left behind words that would shape the philosophy of Stoicism for centuries to come. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So, the next time life pushes you to the ground, when pain feels unbearable, remember Epictetus. You may not control the circumstances, but you always control yourself. And in that, you are truly free. Years passed, and Epictetus was finally granted his freedom. No longer a slave, he could have sought wealth, power, or recognition. But he did not. Instead, he chose a simple life, one of wisdom, reflection, and teaching. He did not chase after riches or status, nor did he dwell on his painful past. Because Epictetus understood something most people never do. True freedom is not about external circumstances, it is about the mind. Even after being freed, he walked with a limp, a permanent reminder of his past suffering. But when people pitied him, he simply smiled, because he did not see himself as a victim. He saw himself as free. One day, as he taught his students, a young man stormed into the room, his face red with anger. He had been insulted by another and was seething with rage. Epictetus watched him with calm eyes. Then he raised a hand and pointed to his own head. "Do you not see?" he said gently. "That man has not hurt you. You have hurt yourself by allowing his words to control you." The young student blinked, confused. Epictetus continued, "No one can truly harm you unless you give them permission. The real chains are not made of iron. They are the ones inside your mind." His words hung in the air, settling deep into the hearts of those who listened. This was one of the greatest lessons of Stoicism, one that Epictetus lived by until his final days. Small blue diamond, you cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. Small blue diamond, no one can imprison you, except your own thoughts. Small blue diamond, true freedom is not found in wealth, status, or circumstances. It is found within. Epictetus had been bound in chains. He had suffered cruelty beyond measure. But even at his lowest, he had something that no master could take away, his own mind. And that, above all else, made him truly free. So, the next time you feel trapped by anger, by fear, by circumstances beyond your control, remember Epictetus. True freedom is not about what happens to you. It is about how you choose to respond. Take a moment. Look at your life. Is there something that causes you pain? Is there someone who makes you angry? Are there losses that have left you feeling broken? In the rush of modern life, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. A harsh word from a colleague, a betrayal from someone you trusted, a failure that shakes your confidence. In these moments, it feels as if life is against you, as if happiness is slipping through your fingers. But pause, breathe, look deeper, ask yourself, is it the event that hurts me, or is it my reaction to it? A man sits in the heart of a crowded city, lost in thought. His hands clenched into fists, his body tense with frustration. The weight of the world presses down on him. But then something shifts. He exhales slowly. His fingers uncurl. The tension in his face softens. His gaze lifts, no longer filled with turmoil, but with quiet acceptance. Because in that moment, he realizes a truth that the Stoics have taught for centuries. The world does not control you. You control yourself. Next time life tests you, remember this. Epictetus once said, "No one can take your peace unless you let them." You always have the power to choose your response. And that is the essence of Stoicism. The storm will rage. People will disappoint you. Hardships will come. But nothing, absolutely nothing, can touch your inner peace unless you allow it to. Because freedom, real freedom, is not about escaping pain. It is about rising above it. If Epictetus, a crippled slave, could find peace and power within his own mind, then so can you. The only chains that truly bind us are the ones we place on ourselves. And at any moment, we have the key to break free.